those of you that don't know me, I am just going to give you a couple of minutes. My name is Amanda Jane Duggan. I am the owner of New Leaf Weight Loss Surgery, but I am also a bariatric success coach and eating psychology coach in my own right. And I help support people with their journey right from the minute that they start to decide to have surgery all the way through until, well, forever really. To help them to understand what the guidelines are, what they need to do, the mindset, their nutrition to a certain extent, although I do have a bariatric dietitian that works with me on that. But looking at the psychology of eating, their emotional relationship with food and self-sabotage, etc. And I do a Facebook Live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. just to give you guys some either practical tips, which it is tonight, or sometimes it's psychological tips, just to give extra added value to you really. But as I'm from next week, I'm going to be taking this over to my my business page, because apparently I am not allowed in any way to mention New Leaf or my success coaching on your personal page. And if you do, and the Facebook Please Find Out, they can just literally just delete your Facebook page. And I thought, oh my God, I don't need that, because, I connect with you guys on here. So I'm going to, move it over to the New Leaf page. So if you haven't liked New Leaf, well, you just have to go onto that page. But if you can like New Leaf, it will then tell you when I'm going live as well. But if you don't want to like it, I understand that. That's fine. Especially if you're not a New Leaf patient, because this isn't just for New Leaf people. This is for anybody who's had bariatric surgery. Just make sure that you direct yourself over to there at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday night, because you won't get a notification to say that I'm on. So, okay, lovely. So this evening I am going to be talking about grazing. Because I personally think this is probably, along with slider foods or sugar, the most important thing for bariatric patients to consider. And I think that anybody who's had a weight problem before they have a surgery or don't have surgery, a huge proportion of people are grazers. So you'll hear people saying, but I didn't eat. I don't understand how you've got so big, because you don't eat very much. And, that people used to say that to me, because I didn't particularly eat massive amount of portions. Although, obviously since my surgery, I can eat a lot less. But I didn't eat huge portions. But what I did do is I was constantly picking. I'd pick when I was making dinner, I'd pick after dinner. If there was a few chips left on somebody's plate, I'd pick them. I'd have all sorts of stuff in between meals, never thought about that, and lots of milky drinks, so lattes, all sorts of things, and all of those calories add up. And it doesn't matter how you are, it doesn't matter what you're doing with your diet, it doesn't matter whether you're exercising, whatever, the equation still exists whether you've had weight loss surgery or not. Calories in need to be less than calories out. So you need to expend more calories than you take in. And weight loss surgery helps us to do that, because it enables us to have much smaller portions before we're full, particularly if we eat the right things like protein first and 50% of our diet protein. But the problem with that is that if you've always been somebody who grazes all the time, which I was, in the first few months, you are sort of advised to eat little and often. So you're advised to eat maybe every hour or every 2 hours, just a little bit, because in those first few months, we can get 5 or 6 spoonfuls in. I remember, I just remember thinking, oh my God, am I ever going to be able to eat more than 4 or 5 spoonfuls of food? Is this it for the rest of my life? And obviously it wasn't. Now I can eat a small child's portion of food. But that's the problem, that it doesn't stay like that. And if you're a grazer like I was, somebody who just wasn't aware of what I was putting in my mouth, I was just constantly picking, it almost encourages that behaviour in the early days, because you taught to eat little and often, because you're getting so little nutrition in your body that you have to try to get it more often. But it's great for a while. But the problem that happens is that as we get a bit further out, it gets much easier to eat. And we also lose our momentum. We lose that absolute, I'm going to do it, I'm going to smash it this time. That, that all or nothing diet mentality that a lot of us have had for many years. It's like, yes, this is it. This is going to be it. And it can be, and it often is. And I just say to all of you that are struggling with grazing or regain or what have you, you're still probably in an infinitely better position than you would have been if you'd never had the weight loss surgery in the first place. Because I know for me that I would be probably by now 7 years of 5, 6 stone heavier. Don't know what, I probably might even be dead. But I would have been huge, absolutely huge, because I was putting on nearly a stone a year, half a stone a year. So not only have I not put that weight on in that last 7 years, but I've kept the majority of my weight off, and everybody regains a little bit. It's normal to do that. So that's just an aside. But so because you're taught to eat little and often 6, 7, 8 times a day, whatever it is, then you start to eat. It's almost like a green light to say, yeah, I can eat. Yeah, just keep eating. Now, the problem with that is when you can only eat a little bit, it's fine. But as your stomach or your sleeve or your bypass or whatever you've had dilates a little bit, what happens there is that grazing isn't 6 mouthfuls at your meals. It's not, sort of like one little bit of protein. You are not thinking protein first anymore because it's become normal. You may have lost a load of weight and felt everything's fine. I can just start going back to my old ways. You think it's all sorted. And it can really creep up on you. Because if you think about it, when I'm in France, this is the hardest thing, because in France, they eat a meal over about 3 bloody hours. They're just constantly eating, and they start with a starter, and then they'll wait about half an hour, and then they'll have the main course, and then they'll wait about an hour, and then they'll have cheese, and then they'll wait about an hour, then they'll have dessert, by which time it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, when I'm there, I can eat almost as much as everybody else around that table. No, not as much, but I can certainly eat a bit of every course. Whereas when I'm at home, I do that, as much as I can. 20, 20, 20, 20 rule. So we take a 20 pence portion size piece of food, we chew it 20 times, we stop after 20 minutes, and we wait 20 seconds before we eat more. So if you stop after 20 minutes for your meals, then actually that is helping you, particularly if you're making sure that your portion sizes are right and your plate size, your 50% protein, quarter of carbohydrates, quarter of vegetables, etc. You don't really need to calorie count. It sorts itself out for itself. It's free. It's just 50%, and you get used to that. 50%, 25, stop after 20 minutes, all sorted, get on with my life. The problem happens when we start grazing. So what happens is we've got used to eating every couple of hours. Now we can eat like a small child portion for our main courses, and then we're still eating in between. And the size of the snacks in between can get bigger, and we can digest so many more calories in that way. The other thing that can happen is that people tend to think, right, okay, and this is almost encouraged in the early days, just eat your food and then eat as much of it as you can, or 7, 8 mouthfuls, or your 100 grams or whatever, and then wait 2 hours maybe and have a bit more. So what happens is, Friday night comes along and the husband goes out and says, or wife, if you're a man, I'm going out, I'm going to get a Chinese takeaway. And you go, yeah, I'll have a little bit, which is fine. We all have treats. It's an 80-20 rule. We make sure that we don't overdo it, but we've got to live, and we've got to live in a normal world. So maybe you go and you'll get something like, I don't know, some sort of curry with a bit of rice, and you'll have your bit, which is mainly tikka, so you know that you've got your protein. You might have a little bit of salad that comes on the side and a little bit of rice in the corner, and that's like a balanced meal, and it's fine. And then you will stop after 20 minutes and put it away. And then you wander into the kitchen an hour later and you just think, I'll just have a bit more of that. Who's done that? Give me a thumbs up if you've done that. Just have a bit more of that. It's on the side in the kitchen. I don't even warm it up. Don't even put it in the microwave to warm it up. I'll just go in and in fact, I've got a fork in front for one of my tea. And I'll get my fork and I'll just have a few more mouthfuls of that, okay? So now I've had 2 bariatric size dinners. Not 1, but 2. So I've had double what I should be having, but I don't even notice it because, well, it doesn't really count because it's just like the leftovers on the side and it's fine. So then I don't, that's not even counted. It's just only a bit more, isn't it? It's only a bit more. But when we can only eat a small amount anyhow, that bit more is another bariatric portion. So then what we do is, I might even then have it for my lunch the next day, which is fine. But I could even go in, if I wanted, if I was really not on programme and really not looking at my eating, 3 times in an evening and just have a little bit more, particularly if there's nobody watching. Because it doesn't count if nobody's watching, does it? Well, it does, but we can tell ourselves anything we want. So you can see how that adds up. And then the other thing is the snacks during the day. Now, I don't know whether you're like me, but I can't do 1 biscuit. 1 biscuit is not worth it. I'd rather have none than 1 because I'll be craving all the time. I've got to have 2, a minimum of 2. So I'll have, say, 2 biscuits and I think, okay, that's my treat for the day. That sets off for me sugar craving if I have it early on in the day, and all day, and then I hit what I call the F it button and think, oh, I'll start again tomorrow, and then the biscuits will go in. It's like inhaling them if I'm not careful. And all of these things still apply to me. Even though I'm a success coach, I'm an eating disorder therapist, I still have to be constantly vigilant about my food. But I've got lots of tools in my toolkit, which is what I teach my clients that do my coaching program with me. We fill up their toolkit with lots of tools so that you're not, if you like, you are not unconsciously doing all this. It becomes into your conscious because you're aware of your behaviour so much more, and therefore you can't keep ignoring it. So you have to do something about it. And you also have accountability from me on your back. So, it's... But the thing is, so if you think about that. Now, the other thing is milky drinks and alcohol. So I remember in the early days, I was told on quite a few groups, if you're struggling to get your calories in, which you are in the early days, have a milky drink. Have a latte or a hot, low calorie hot chocolate or something like that made with full fat milk because it's got more calories in it. And, so Melinda, I know you're commenting and I can't see it. So I'll have to come back and read it after. So therefore you get milky drinks. So I would have a milky drink in the morning. I'd have a milky drink in the afternoon. And I'd probably have a couple of more snacks in the day. I'd have my 3 meals, which were like snack size, and they were all about the same. But I got into the habit of having a milky drink, and that milky drink, full fat milky drink, is probably going on for 300 calories if I have a latte. So I've had 600 calories in just milky drinks. Now, I don't drink alcohol, but if I drank alcohol as well and had a couple of glasses of wine at night, you could have racked up 800 calories without eating a single item, without eating anything of nutrition. Well, I'm not saying milk is got nutritional value, but not any solid protein. And 50% of our diet is supposed to be solid protein. So what you need to, what I think, so what are my tips for actually putting a tip on this? Because we're coming up to the busy season, and next week, I think it's either next week or the week after, I'm going to be doing a live all about like preparing for the Christmas. What do we need to do? So don't forget to watch that, because there'll be loads of tips about how to survive the Christmas period without weight gain and still have fun. Because when all is said and done, we've got to have fun. We didn't have bariatric surgery to be miserable for the rest of our life. We had bariatric surgery to give us our life back. That was why I had it. I didn't feel I was living before, and now I am living to the full. But I don't want to feel deprived. So we have to find ways of doing that, tactics and strategies of doing that, so that we don't feel deprived and that we're having our best life. So with the grazing, I reckon if we can cut out, all of us, grazing between now and Christmas, we could probably lose half a stone. And that gives you a little bit of wiggle room so that if you do overindulge over Christmas, which many of us are tempted to do, your net results at the end of the Christmas period, say January time, are going to be, hopefully, that over December and January you've still lost weight. And the problem is, at this time of year, we probably can see January looming and we all go on, I'll just wait till January. It's too difficult because all the Christmas parties, all of this going on, it's too difficult. By which time in December and January, you can have actually put a good half a stone on. So, you know, my advice to you is, where you can, do some strategies to stop, you know, any overindulgence. And the grazing in between meals is something that we can stop. We can still have our Christmas parties. We can still go. We can still have a few glasses of wine. We can still have a bit of Christmas pudding. We can still do all of those things. But stop the grazing in between meals, because you can reduce your calorie output by 500 or 600 calories a day just by doing that. And when you are 6 months and more, the guidelines now are that you should be having 3 meals, 50% protein, 25% veg, 25%, complex carbs, and 2 high protein snacks. Now, those high protein snacks, things like hummus with vegetables is really good. Things like, I always have like cooked prawns in sweet chili sauce in my fridge. Bits of chicken, I make egg muffins, I have those in my fridge. I'll have protein shakes that I can get ready to go. I make my own protein flapjacks and I put those in the freezer, and then I can take one out and in half an hour it's defrosted. I have to have these high protein snacks in the house, because if I don't, I will eat biscuits, crisps, chocolate, whatever I can get my hands on, and I'll go to the garage or what have you. So I do allow myself 2 snacks a day. But I always wait a minimum of 3 hours in between meals. So my advice for you today, I've got 5 tips to help you stop grazing before Christmas, to try and get some weight off, so you've got a bit of wiggle room over the Christmas period. The first one is, when you are having your meals, make sure, and your snacks, make sure there is always protein involved. So, for example, if you decide to have an apple, make sure there's a bit of cheese with it. Why am I saying that? Because protein will keep you full for longer. Solid protein will always make you full and keep you full than any other food. So you are not likely to want to eat for that 3 hours. So, for example, if I have half a chicken breast, I can last 3 hours. If I have a protein shake, I find it quite hard to last 3 hours, because it's not solid protein. Yes, it will help me build muscle. Yes, it will give me the amino acids. It will give me the protein that I need to help my body recover, but it won't fill me up the same. So make sure that every meal there is some protein there, because it'll keep you full for longer and you will resist the temptation to pick. The second one is, in fact, well, it's 2, 3 meals a day, half of your protein, and 2 high protein snacks, which I've already said. Sorry. The second one I've got is, get somebody else to take everything out off the table or wherever it is you eat, and to put it either in the bin, or have some of those little Tupperware containers. This is a really good tip. Put them in there, leftovers, and stick them in the freezer. I have a shelf in my freezer that's purely for me, and it's got little containers of leftovers in it, and it's all labelled, and then every time I need a meal I can go in and get something. So there'll be loads of things. I know somebody whose mum used to actually freeze hers as well, all her leftovers in these little tubs, and then she would bring them once a week, put them in a freezer and bring them for her daughter. She'd got some like different food that she wouldn't normally perhaps make herself. So that means that you plan, you've got something there. The other thing is plan your meals at the beginning of the week. So plan your meals and snacks. You don't have to do this all the time, but I'm just saying for this month, I would suggest that you just get used to planning them again. So what meals am I going to have and what snacks? Now planning doesn't necessarily mean that you have to know exactly what you're going to have on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because I know I'll say I'm going to have spag bol, for example, on a Monday night, and I'll think, I don't fancy spag bol, but it's written down, I've got to have it. Then I'm going to feel deprived, and then I'm going to go into disordered eating. Whenever I feel deprived, that is more chance of me being in disordered eating. So if you plan 7 main meals, 7 lunches, and 14 snacks, okay? And some of them might be the same. So you may decide that you're going to have spag bol one night and you'll have it for lunch, another day. But plan of that over the week. And then each morning when you get up, you choose which 3 you're going to have, because they're planned and they're bought and they're in. Sometimes I'll have a Sunday day where I'll cook, and I'll get things like I do my egg muffins and my flapjacks on a Sunday, and I wrap them all and I put them in the freezer. And they're great because I can pull one out. It's a lunch with a bit of salad, an egg muffin. I love them. I put smoked salmon in them. I put asparagus in them. I put loads of cheddar cheese. I put lots of cream cheese, Philadelphia, with a bit of garlic. And I just literally put them into muffin trays, into muffin holders. I pour them in like a quiche, throw them in the oven for half an hour, pull them out, wrap them up, put them in the freezer. And, well, I wait till they're cool. But then I've got something to take with me. The same with the flapjacks. You can get loads of flapjack recipes. Just be careful there's not too much sugar in them. So if you do that, and then when you've planned your meal for the week, shop online. The biggest environmental trigger is shopping, particularly if you go when you're hungry. Never go shopping when you're hungry. Because you will see things and think and smell things, and they really do throw food smells like bread and things out through the vents to try to get you to eat more. They have all sorts of things in these supermarkets that they do, or so I've been told. It may just be a scaremongering thing, but still, you see things and you watch things. Like today, for example, I went to have a coffee. I was waiting for my husband, who's in the dentist. I went to have a coffee, and it's called Lovington's Bakery, and they do amazing cakes and bread. Now, I did resist buying a cake or anything, but they've got some Christmas bread on the side, which was buttered. Oh, have a piece of this, just try our Christmas bread. Of course I did. Again, I'm grazing, I'm snacking. It's not a planned snack. So, if you shop online, then you're going to get only what you need. And, the week after, if you're going to have similar things, because we all tend to eat similar things, it's there and you just click on it again. So shopping online is a really, really good tip, because you'll only get what you need. You won't be tempted to go and put loads of chocolates in, crisps, whatever. And make sure that you get rid of anything like that out of the house for the next month, is what I would suggest, or until Christmas. So if you bought, don't buy Christmas chocolates early. It's the biggest killer. Why do we do it? Why do we feel we have to buy 10 boxes of Quality Streets on the 1st of December? I mean, that is just like an alcoholic being surrounded by whiskey, buying 10 bottles of whiskey and sat with it, surrounding it, It'll be going flash, 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 flash. So don't. In fact, don't buy them at all. But if you feel you need to buy them for the family, buy them nearer the end. Or let them bring them themselves. But don't have them in the house. Do not buy selection boxes for the kids, anything like that. Because I know you're like me, because that's why we're all in the same boat. I've done it before, and I do it Easter, buy the eggs. And they don't last. I end up eating them myself. And I have to go and buy them again. Anybody else done that? Easter eggs? Or tell me if you have. Easter eggs, or you've selection boxes or chocolates for Christmas, and then just eaten them and thought, I've opened a big box of Quality Street before I know it. Oh, what's the point now? I've opened it, might as well eat them. And the problem is with that is we feel guilty because we've done it. And what do we do when we feel guilty? Do we eat them slowly? I'll just have one after my dinner every evening. No, do we? Never. We will eat them. And we'll eat them as quickly as we possibly can, because we feel bad, we feel guilty, and we'll get them down our throat as quick as we can. So it's just a nightmare. Set a timer between your meals. Okay, so set a timer for 3 hours in between meals, and don't eat anything in between. Drinks, yes, you can have a drink, tea with a little bit of milk in, or, juice or water, but not, if you're going to have a latte, that is classed as a high protein snack. It is not classed as a drink. So if you have one of those, that is your snack. That's your high protein snack in the day. So you've got 3 meals and another high protein snack. And set a timer for 3 hours in between meals, because then don't eat in between. There is one called 3 Hour Diet, I think. You can get on, I know you can get it on the App Store for iPhone. I'm sure you can get it on there. But family bags of crisps, I can just see Lynn saying that you haven't got a sweet tooth. Yes. So anything like that, anything that's a slider food, snack food. Don't buy it before Christmas. Pretzels, crisps, all of those things, you know, that we associate with Christmas that we feel we've got to buy on the 1st of December and stock up as if we were going to have a nuclear war and nobody was ever going to survive it. You know, it's crazy, and it's one day, you know, it's just buy one box, maybe on Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve or something like that. So don't give yourself excuses. Don't use those excuses at Christmas. And what is my last one? I think probably that's it. Freezing your leftovers, making sure that you don't go back in the kitchen. And, you know, don't be an all or nothing girl. So just make sure that you do allow yourself the odd treat over the next few weeks, because, you know, what happens if we don't is that we end up then just going off and saying, forget it, I can't be bothered, I'll wait till January, you know. So maybe one of those planned protein treats, you know, maybe 1 or 2 a week can be something like a packet of crisps, but have a little bit of cheese with it or a little bit of chicken with it, but make sure the protein is there as well. Or having a little bit of fruitcake, but make sure you have a bit of, I don't know, cheese or chicken first with that, but have the protein first. Don't substitute the cake for the protein, because it will help you to balance your blood sugars, which will mean that you are much less likely to crave the sugar afterwards and want more. What does it say? Eilish, no more Costa trip. No, you can't. It's fine. Just have it as your high protein snack. Don't have it as a drink. It's your snack. Skinny latte is the same, you know. I mean, if you're counting calories, I suppose you can add it up, but still, skinny latte's got protein. It's not got as much protein as full fat milk. Full fat milk has got more protein in it, but still, I now, because I'm 7 years out, will have a skinny latte, because I know I'm getting enough calories in, more than enough calories in my normal food. So I don't want those extra calories of having the full fat milk, and I make sure I get my protein in other ways. So yeah, but if your Costa, you know, latte is one of your high protein snacks, so there you go. So yeah, always think about it like that, really. And you know, just really implementing these tools can really help you to stop this grazing, because like I said at the beginning, you can consume probably over 600 calories a day just by those little bits that you just, you know, nip in the kitchen, just have a few more of this, that and the other. So try and be conscious of it. Let me know how you get on. I'd be really interested. If any of you are on the Bariatric Success Lounge, on there I've put about grazing for this week. So I'd like to see you, you know, telling me if you've got any tips, share them with us so that we can all support each other through this period, because it is a difficult period for us all. And, you know, it's been great to be with you tonight. I think it's a fairly short one. I haven't got a clue what time it is. Anybody know what time it is? Oh, 1/2, half an hour. Perfect. It's long enough. Okay. Yes. So take care. I will see you not next Wednesday. It's going to be Thursday next week. I can't do it on Wednesday. So next Thursday, 7 p.m. on my New Leaf page, because I've got to change it apparently. So lovely to see you. Let me just have a quick look at any of these comments. Thanks, but never eaten Chris again. Now it's post up and not even fancied a Chris. That is fantastic, Louise. So pleased to hear it. My mum calls me the carb queen. That will be my temptation after surgery. Yeah, it's a killer. Carbs are a killer because they mush down much easier than protein. So you really need to concentrate on protein, Kerry. What else? Not got a sweet tooth. We did the Bowser Chris. Shopping when hungry is a disaster. Absolutely. Such an interesting watch. I'm booked in for the 8th of March. Brilliant, Kerry. So great. Really great. It's strange to me that I get a lot of restriction on the healthy food, but not so much on the chips and cookies. It isn't strange, Melinda. Have a look at my Bariatric Mindset TV. I can't remember what it is. I think it's number 9. It's about slider foods and regain. And slider foods break down in your mouth before you even start to eat. So the enzymes in your saliva will start to break those types of food down. So by the time they hit your stomach, they're almost liquid. So you are not going to get the same restriction, whereas something like chicken or beef or something like that will not break down. It doesn't break down until it hits your stomach, and then the enzymes in your stomach start to actually break it down. And by which time it's got to sit in your stomach before it's broken down, and it takes up more room. It really is as simple as that. It isn't. It's more complicated, but that's the easiest way of explaining it. So, really think about that. That's why solid protein gives us the best restriction. It stops us from eating more of the other stuff, because I know that if I could eat, say I went into the pub on a Sunday lunchtime and I had a meal, I had roast beef. I always ask for a child's portion. I can never eat it all, never. But so that stops me then. I'm dying for apple crumble and custard, but it stops me. Because by the time I've eaten half a child's portion of roast beef, I eat the beef first with a bit of potatoes and veg and things. I can't possibly eat the crumble and custard. And actually I don't fancy it because I'm so full. The restriction feels, you know what it all feels like. If you've had the surgery, you will know that the restriction makes you just feel full up to here and you just can't eat anymore. So you don't fancy it. But if I ate the apple crumble and custard first, I could eat a huge portion of apple crumble and custard because it just mushes down into nothing. And that's the high calorie bit. And then I could probably eat some beef and some roast dinner as well. So this is why we have to eat solid protein first, because it fills our tummy up. It makes us feel uncomfortable, which we don't like, but that's the whole point of having the surgery. It gives you a stop button. It makes you feel uncomfortable, so you stop eating. So going for the slider foods and the easier to eat foods is always going to mean that you will eat more on every occasion. So that's why protein is so important, not only to help you to recover from the surgery and build muscle, because the other thing you don't want is you don't want to end up being a bag of bones and fat because you've lost all your muscle mass instead of losing the fat. So you need the protein to build muscle, to give you the amino acids. So that's me for tonight. Those of you that are on my success support group, my VIP group that have this coaching with me, I will see you in about, I don't know, I think it's 8:15 we said, so I'll see you over on Zoom for that. If anybody is interested in getting some additional support with me and Vandana Patel, my dietitian, to help you be the most successful you can be, maybe help you if you're struggling with a bit of grazing, regain, or you're just starting to have surgery and you know that you've got an emotional connection with food and you need some support to help you with that, stop you sabotaging, drop me a PM, let me know, and I can send you over some information. Lovely to hear you tonight. Have you here? I don't hear you, but I see. I know you're with me, and that is great. We've had quite a lot of people on tonight, so it's brilliant. More and more people each week. See you next week, guys. Take care. Bye.